Hey, this is John with Smoke Eater Guitars. Our mission is to keep your axe playing its best at all times. On this channel, we'll cover some basic setups all the way up to pro level repairs. I'll show you tips, tricks, even some trade secrets. Our mission is to save rock and roll, one guitar at a time. All right, we're back again, guys. This is John with Smoke Eater Guitars. I'm going to take a look at this Telecaster real quick. I'm going to show you all a real quick and easy way to clean your frets, and this could actually be done at every string change, just to keep your frets nice and fresh, if you would. This is not truly a polish. This is more of a cleaning and buffing. So, hey everybody, this is John with Smoke Eater Guitars. We're saving rock and roll one guitar at a time. I want to take a moment to kind of share with you guys what liking and subscribing does for the channel. We do a lot of charity work for new students, for young kids that are trying to learn guitar. A lot of those kids can't afford a real expensive guitar, or even the repairs of a starter guitar. So by you liking and subscribing, it helps us keep those costs down. Do your part. Help save rock and roll one guitar at a time. So what we're going to be using, and I did a video on this before, but I wanted to redo it for a single video just for this process. This was part of a video that I made before, which we were dealing with other issues also. So I wanted to make a singular video just for cleaning this. So what we're going to be using is I buy these four-sided fingernail polish buffers. Side one is kind of a rough, it's almost like sandpaper, a rough edge. 2 is a little bit smoother, 3 is a little bit smoother, and then 4 is actually a polisher. So we're going to use this shape 1, is what it's called, shape 1, because you shape your fingernails with it. We're actually going to utilize that to kind of shape the edges of our frets. And then 2, to smooth, we're going to utilize this to smooth out all the fret. So we'll do not only the edges, but we'll do the whole entire fret with side 2. And 3 is buffing, so of course we're going to buff all the fret. And then 4 is polishing, which will give it a nice shine. So before we do that, what I always like to do on electric and acoustic guitars is I will take some 2-inch blue tape, just some painter's tape, and I'm going to protect some of this guitar so we don't scratch as we go. So I'll put it right up against that edge of the guitar here, so when I'm going through it, if I accidentally hit it, I'm hitting the tape. So we'll do that to both sides of the fretboard, and it doesn't have to. The tape doesn't have to be pretty. It just have to be on that edge. What I also do on electric guitars is I will come and tape off that pickup. The Telecaster, it has a chrome pickup here, so this kind of protects everything as we go and won't allow us to scratch up any of the paint. So back to the buffer, we're going to start with shape 1. Now shape 1, we're just going to be shaping the edges here. This isn't rocket science. This is pretty easy and pretty quick. Take that up just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take this 1, I'm just going to go right along this edge here. And what I'm trying to do is hit the fret, not so much focus on the wood, and hit that fret. And I'm taking down those sharp edges on the edge of that fretboard. This is not real aggressive, so you're not going to take a whole lot of that fret off. You're just going to take and shape the edge so it's nice and rounded. If it does have any sharp edges at this point, this will take it off. So I'm going to just go over it a few times, kind of shaping that down. Then I'll switch over and do the other side. Kind of same method, just a back and forth, just trying to take that sharp edge off of the fret, clean it up a little bit. Whenever you get to a point where it's nice and smooth, you can actually tell by when you move it. If it moves over it really easy, you know you've got enough off. If it's still kind of hard to push across them, you need to take a little bit more off. So that was step one, just getting those edges nice and clean and smooth. Step two, we're going to use over same area as first. We're going to go over that. That's going to take any kind of scarring or scratching look off of those edges where we did it. And then we'll take it and go the whole fretboard. And what we're doing here is we're starting to get it clean. Starting to clean that fretboard a little bit better. Not so much the fretboard, but the frets themselves. So I start going in one direction, then I'll finish up going the other direction, just like this. Nice and easy, nice and smooth. Not trying to get on the wood, just trying to stay on the wire, fret wire. And I'll show you the difference. Look how dirty that is. That was nice and clean before. That's just the dirt and grime that's on the fretboard. So now that we got that done, we'll go over to the blue side, which is the buffing side. We're going to buff those edges, which will make them even more smooth. But we're also going to brush or buff our fretboards too. That'll make it nice and smooth. Now, while you're doing this, some of this dirt and grime that's coming off of these frets will end up on the fretboard. No matter whether it's a maple fretboard like we're looking at here or a rosewood, we're going to go and clean it afterwards anyway. So I wouldn't worry about any of the grime going on. See that grime going on there? Don't worry about that. It's going to get clean. Lastly, we'll hit number 4, which is the polishing. And again, I'm not pressing super hard on this. It's kind of a light process. But I'm just going over these frets, getting them nice and clean. Again, that was white, and this is what happens whenever you get through. All right, so it does take a lot of that dirt and grime off of there. That's as quick as that goes on that process. And now we're going to have to clean it a little bit. On a maple, I just use Mr. Clean. And I'll spray it. And get a nice soft cloth. And we're actually going to run it pretty good, get all that stuff off. When you're doing this, you're not only cleaning your fretboard or cleaning the frets, but you're also cleaning that board off. The more you play, the more oils and grime from your hands get on that board. And over time, that'll build up and kind of make your fretboard look kind of dingy. So once I get it generally cleaned, what I'll do is I'll go back and get super detailed into where the fret wire meets the board, I'll clean that super good, because that's where a lot of that oils and grime gets caught up at. So I'll go back and clean that really detailed. And what I'm using is the side of my nail and the cloth just to go on where that board meets the wire. And as you go through, you can actually feel that dirt loosening up and releasing into the cloth. Now, when I change strings, this is the method I use to clean the fretboard when I do like just a general setup for a person. If they wanted more detailed polish, I'll go back and I tape it all off, or use a board that I have. It's a thin aluminum board that's pre-slotted with the different types of guitars, depending on the scale length. So this is a Fender. Most Fenders have a 25.5-inch scale length. So the board I have fits most of the overall these Fenders are in the frets, and all you see is just the wire at that point. And you can use a Dremel tool, some polish, some metal polish, and really polish these up to a high shine. But if you look at the difference between what we had when I started this to what we have now, these are super clean compared to what they were. They feel really good. They're nice and polished. You can feel how smooth they are. And you run your hand across this way, and you can really feel the difference once we kind of use that number one side against these edges. They feel nice and round now. They're not sharp at any point. They're really, really nice. So that's how I kind of addressed those issues whenever I'm doing a setup that didn't require a detailed polishing. It's pretty quick. It's easy. This is a short video so far because this is a very simple process. You're truly more worried about the cleaning on this process than you are the polishing, and that's what we did. We cleaned these frets. It's not a detailed polish. Again, it's just a cleaning of the frets. And a lot of players, when I give them their guitar back, they're amazed on how easy and how smooth these frets are after we do this. And that's really the gist of the video that this was meant to do, is just show this polishing pad and how quick and easy this could be if all you're needing to do is clean the fretboard versus actually polishing. Polishing, either tape or use one of those boards and buff all the deals out. But that's not needed but maybe once a year. If you use this every time you do a string change, if you use this, it will keep those polishes nice and clean and shiny. All right. So I think that's going to be it for this video, and we will see you guys at the next one. All right, so we have a PRS in the shop today. We're doing a complete setup on it, but one of the things that we've noticed is this is a used guitar just purchased today by a student that's learning guitar. And once we got the strings off and we started working on this, what we noticed were these frets are ridiculously bad as far as filthy goes. They need a true polishing before we move any further with restringing or anything. So we're going to go through the process of taping this off and polishing these frets. I know that you guys that have seen me other videos know that just in between strings changes, we can use this nail buffer to kind of clean them off in between. This is kind of beyond that. So what's happened here, that somebody's probably owned this for a couple of years, restringed it probably 20 times, but have never polished the frets. So we have a lot of dirt and grime on this fretboard and these frets, a little bit beyond what we would ask of this buffer. So first things first, we're going to get the fretboard nice and clean. I like to use a little flat head. And when I say it's little, it's little. We're going to use a small little, almost like a precision style flathead. And I noticed when I was going through here, there's gunk up against the fret wire. So this little bitty flathead screwdriver, it's kind of like a precision tool for me, and I can get in here and just kind of scrape some of that grime off. And what I do when I do this is I'm actually turning the tool so it's not scraping against the wood. It's just where the wood meets the metal, and I can scrape a lot of that gunk off. And what that is, to be honest with you, it's going to sound kind of disgusting, which it truly is disgusting. That's a lot of dead skin and oils and stuff that's gotten on this fretboard over the last few years of this guy playing it. And it's really bad on these lower frets. So the guy must have been a good guitar player, but where he's soloing is just pretty gunked up and nasty. A little bit right here. And normally, if you can see it, you need to clean it. You don't have to go against every one, but this one was so bad, like you could see it. What I'm doing now is just using my nail to kind of feel for any additional. Just seemed to be like right here in this area. Maybe he played a lot of triads. For you beginners, if you don't know what a triad is, go look it up. Figure out what a triad. If I say I'm playing using triads, go find that out. It's one of my favorite ways of kind of playing when I'm in a band is triads. All right, so we got that gunk feeling off. We're going to start taping now. I'm going to bring out my handy dandy taper here. This is a lifesaver. It's a three tape dispenser. So it actually dispenses 3 different size tapes off of one dispenser. I'm going to push this back a little bit so I can give myself some room. So when we're going to tape this up, first thing we're going to do is go right down the side of the neck. And I just try to go right underneath where the frets meet the wood and the wood starts angling back down. Let's do a little bit at a time here. I'll start this strip right there, and then you'll see why when we get a little bit further down the line here. Got a little bit of leftover tape here, so I'm going to use that leftover tape just on this edge over here. Trying to stay off the fretboard itself, but still cover some of that edge there. All right, we got this side done first. We're going to turn the guitar around and do the same exact thing on the other side. This size is a 1.5 inch roll of tape. And again, I'm going to just go to that edge, start a little bit at a time. So I'm going to start at one end and kind of work my way to the other. All right, now we can start taping this neck up. So I said this tape dispenser was one of my favorite things ever. I'm not even kidding. This thing is awesome. I'm getting text messages for weather alerts. So if you notice, I have 3 different sizes of tapes, kind of a large 1 inch, a 1/2 inch, and then a 1/4 inch style tape. And I'll take this, and with the 1/4 inch or the 1/2 inch, I can normally go with 2 pieces, take one of the full frets. So let me try this again. And I don't have to cut a whole lot on this either. So I start at the very edge of the fret. I put the tape down. And then with a full piece, I cover that whole fret. When I was using this tape, because this tape is wider than the fret, every time I went to fret or tape one of these, I would have to cut this tape every time. And as I went down, I had to cut it smaller and smaller and smaller. Now with these 3 different size dispenser, as I go down, I can start using smaller tape. Cut that one a little short, didn't I? So I utilize the big side until I can't fit one in there, and then I'll go down to the next size. All right, so I've got them all taped off. That looks kind of cool, huh? It's like a blue fretboard. So I'll go back and I kind of press and make sure they're on there nice and good. Take my finger and edge around the frets, make sure they're nice and set in there. I'm trying to keep as much of the polishing compound out of there as possible. But for those of you who stuck with me this whole time, you could see how if I didn't have this dispenser, how much time consuming that would have been when doing this. All right, so we're ready to start polishing. So I'm going to show you what kind of polishing compound I use, and then kind of how I prep myself for this process. Oh yeah, that's actually in a pretty good spot right there. As far as polishing compound goes, the Flitz metal polishing compound works great. You can normally find this stuff at any car parts place, or you can find it online at flitz.com is what it says right here. But this stuff works great, and it works good on plastic, metal, fiberglass. I mean, it really does a good job of polishing. But when I utilize this, a couple of things I try to do is I'm going to get a towel. I have old bath towels. Instead of throwing them away, I keep them, and I utilize them for shop purposes. Keep them out in the garage. So I'm going to run out to the garage, and I'm going to get a shop towel. Get a couple of them actually, because I'm going to cover up a few pieces of this guitar before we start slinging polish around. So another thing I'll do is I'll cover this body as we go, just to kind of keep it protected. All right, so we got the Flitz out. Need to get our Dremel tool out. Get a new polishing wheel. So I buy these polishing buffers. They work really well. So I'll grab a new one of those and get that set. So I got me a new buffer wheel on there. Got me some Dremel tool out. Now I don't go high speed on this. I will go medium speed. Let me plug this in. So I put some on my glove here, on my fingertip. Should have pulled that tight before I did it. Put some on my fingertip, and I just coat each one of the frets. And what I normally do is about 5 to 6 frets at a time, because you don't want this stuff to just dry on your fretboard. So I put it on the fret. We'll go 6. Let's go 6. Y'all good with going 6? We'll go 6. And once I got that on there, I'm going to take my buffing wheel. I'm going to get some on that buffing wheel too. That helps lubricate that buffing wheel a little bit. So I like to kind of soak that into that buffing wheel. So once I get that done, get this out of the way, we can start polishing. And when I start polishing, I said I was on the medium setting, and I'm going to go from each one. And as I'm doing it, you're going to see it start turning. Well, probably not because of the angles that you were at, but when we get closer down here, you may be able to see it. It's going to start turning black, and then all of a sudden, the polish, the polish starts coming through a little bit. All right. So now that I got those kind of to a polished state, I won't just leave that on there and keep going. I start back at the beginning, and just with a clean towel, kind of clean those up. Make sure they're, oh man, these things have polished up beautifully. Wow, that is freaking amazing how well they look. Night and day from what they were. All right, and then we continue with that process all the way down the neck. I'm doing 6 at a time. All right, I think that's going to get it, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this tape off next, and I'm going to show you how to condition and clean and condition that fretboard, because again, this fretboard was dirty. All right, so I'll bring y'all back up so y'all can get a broader view. I hope that close-up view kind of helps you out understanding kind of how I work those frets back and forth. Take this towel and just kind of wipe off any residue, leftover residue. All right, get this out of our way. Let's go ahead and put the Dremel tool up. We're going to take this big, just the bulky type tape off first. Kind of tape that doesn't really matter much. But if y'all notice and remember, when we taped up this neck, we started off with putting tape on the sides. That's kind of an important process, because I'll show you in a minute why we do it that way. Take this off the neck here. All right, so we started off with taking the tape and putting it on the side. So when we go to take this off, what I like to do is get with that and peel this all the way back to the fretboard, all the way flat with the fretboard, and then take the other side and do the same. Hopefully this works this time. I've had sometimes it works great, sometimes it sucks. So I peel that, kind of try to lay that back flat. Then we can flip it back over. So theoretically, see how well that worked? That's why we put the side on first and not second. Side on first, and whenever you go to unpill it, you peel the sides back and lift all those frets with it. All right, next thing we're going to do is condition this fretboard. Take these gloves off because we don't need these anymore, and I have a little bit of residue on them, so take that off. And the first product I'm going to use is this feed and wax. I found this at Ace Hardware. I use this first because I'm going to use this as kind of like a cleaning compound. I'm going to slather this stuff on and then take a toothbrush and clean off really any kind of stuff that's on that. And I'm scrubbing the fretboard. Now, the reason I say to use this and not like a cleaner, like a all-purpose cleaner, this is a untreated wood. It's oiled, but it's not got a varnish over the top. And what you don't want to do is push any kind of chemical cleaner into that wood. You want to oils like lemon oil and this wood treatment type oil is a cleaner, but when we're scrubbing it with a brush, it's not causing any damage to that wood. It's just going to lubricate and hydrate that wood better. So I go through and I scrub this thing down with the toothbrush, nice and heavy scrub. And this does get over the body a little bit, but it's okay. It's not going to hurt your body of the guitar. All right, so I got that on there, and it's nice and thick. We don't need to leave it that thick. In fact, I'm going to use this regular towel that I used before, kind of go over this and clean a lot of this off. So I did a couple things here. I used this lemon bead and wax as both a hydration product for the wood and as a cleaner for the wood. And I don't know if y'all could see in the camera how well this actually worked, because this fretboard looks absolutely brand new. You don't want to leave oils or fretboard cleaner so thick on a board that it feels oily. You want to dry it off after you get it on there. So because I have a feeling this wasn't done in the past, now that I got all that gunk and nastiness off with the brush, I'm going to go back with a different type of product that will man, I'm getting that shit all over my shirt and everything. I'm going to go back with a different product without a brush and just a paper towel, and lively up this fretboard a little bit more. This is called F1. It's made by Music Nomad. This little bottle I've had for like a year, almost a year and a half. And I'm still over half because it don't take a whole lot. Just takes a drop. What I normally do is every fret that doesn't have a marker on it, I put a drop, because that's going to be plenty to do the whole fretboard with. This time, like I said, we're not going to use a brush. We're just going to use a paper towel. And as your paper towel gets that product on it, it gives you enough on that paper towel to do the frets that doesn't have a drop on it. So don't worry about those not having enough. This stuff will definitely give you enough. Just a tiny drop on each unmarked or the frets without an inlay is going to be plenty to do this whole fretboard with. See how much gunk still came off of that? Yeah, this fretboard was in dire need of some love, but she's looking beautiful now. Looking like she's supposed to. Isn't that awesome? Let me take it up. Let me take you up a little bit. Oh, not that high. Oh. See how nice and dark that fretboard looks now? Um, it looks hydrated. Um, just going by and kind of using the light to let me know where else I have a little buildup or something. But yeah, that fretboard looks hydrated, it looks fresh, it looks new. It looks, the frets on it are like mirrors. Just gonna use a paper towel and kind of polish those frets up a little bit. Holy smoke. That's gonna be like a brand new guitar. It really is. I'm very proud of how that all came out. That is amazing.